Businessman has been kidnapped in Lenasia earlier this morning. The kidnapping took place on his return from Mosque. Yasin Biku, an Indian national, was grabbed by four men driving in a white Mercedes-Benz SUV. This is just the latest in an increasing trend of kidnappings. eNCA reporter Barry Bateman is following the story for us and joins us live. Barry, very bizarre story yet again. Kidnappings are always this bizarre. Do we have anything more at this point?
No, not just yet, but more videos are coming out. I've just seen another surveillance footage of the kidnapping, which was taken from a different angle. Earlier we saw from what looked like almost down the road, looking up towards where two men were standing, including Yasin Biku. What we have now is an upward shot, which you will see later in something I'm going to put together. But you can see from the top how this white SUV, a Mercedes-Benz, looks like an SL or whatever it is, pulls up there and parks for quite some time before four men jump out with firearms. Despite Biku's best efforts to try and get away from these suspects, and they eventually drag him to the vehicle, get him in, and speed off. But we don't have any confirmation or details yet from the SAPS. I have put in those queries. I have tried to speak to the family. I went to their house, but unfortunately they say they're not in a position to speak at this stage, which is certainly understandable given that this happened just a few hours ago.
No, honestly, the family must be shocked because at this point they don't even know if he's dead or alive, if this is in fact a kidnapping case where they are to perhaps request ransom anytime soon. Is there absolutely nobody outside perhaps who you've been able to speak to insofar as where the incident occurred?
I went out there today and I went to the mosque where Biku had been praying literally minutes before he was grabbed. And I spoke to a man there. Unfortunately, he didn't want to go on camera, just given the nature of this case and so on. But he gave me some details about who Biku is. We understand that he is in the tobacco industry. He is a distributor for a particular cigarette brand. But this man also spoke about Biku as the person, as a fellow congregant, as somebody who was generous, somebody who was always available to his fellow members of the community. If they had any concerns and the like, they would come to him and raise these issues, and he would try and assist the way he can. So certainly liked within his community, but perhaps because of the industry he was in, he might come across as somebody who is wealthy, and that might have been the reason for the target. But I must stress, as you alluded to earlier, we don't know yet why this man has been kidnapped. No indications yet of a ransom being issued or asked for. We'll just have to wait for developments. I'm sure the family is waiting eagerly as well, with much fear in their hearts about what the next step is going to be.
Barry, just in closing, did you sense some level of urgency when you were speaking to the police? Because this is now a growing trend. It could lead to a situation where citizens now take to the streets because I'm a woman, I'm more vulnerable than a man. If you can just drag a man into a car, what more me?
Yeah, you're quite right. I mean, it's what we can say is that there is an anti-kidnapping task team that was established about a month ago, and this followed the Moti kidnapping, and additional resources have been allocated to this particular unit, and they have had some successes in recent weeks. We had that girl who was rescued from an address in Soweto last week, that 11-year-old girl who was kidnapped in Mayfair, and before that I was out in Heidelberg. There was a Mozambican businessman who was rescued from an address there. So there certainly is a revived, I suppose, interest or allocation of resources towards this particular crime. So I do believe the police do see the urgency in dealing with matters of this nature.
All right. No, Barry, thank you very much for that update. That's our reporter, Barry Bateman, just giving us the latest on that Lenasia kidnapping.